Recording in progress.
Start.
Okay. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. Birla High School and Sham Metallics present the 13th Odyssey, a virtual inter-school fest. We also have our title co-sponsor, Honda, in association with our media partner, The Telegraph, and radio partner, 91.9 Friends FM.
We would also like to thank Silica Motor Corp Private Limited for sponsoring the prizes and trophies, our hospitality partner, Orchid Garden and Banquets, cafe partner, Beans and Roots, our educational partner, Kush Learning Institute, and our refreshment partner, Pugalia Caterers.
You know, as everyone says, laughter is the best medicine. But why do we need to consider it as a medicine? Why can't it be a regular exercise in our daily lives?
Bingo! On that note, let's begin with Humorous, sponsored by Bingo. Now, may I have the pleasure to introduce our first judge for the event, Mrs. Nupur Ghosh, an alumnus of Modern High School for Girls, is currently the Vice Principal of Mahadevi Birla World Academy. Having completed her master's in English literature from Jadavpur University, Ms. Ghosh worked as a senior teacher of English in a number of premier institutions of Kolkata, which include Sushila Birla Girls' School, Modern High School for Girls, and Birla High School. She is an author with Pearson, Longman, and Madhuban, and is empaneled by HarperCollins to conduct workshops. Ms. Ghosh is passionate about dramatics and takes keen interest in elocution, extempore speech, and creative writing. Being a member of the Red Curtain, she believes in good theater for a good cause. She is also the Vice President of an NGO, Calcutta Social Project, recognizing true potential, helping to channelize it and bringing out the best in both her students and teachers where creativity is concerned, continues to be her prime objective. She draws strength from the rainbow hues that life has to offer and is inspired by the ordinary people around her. Can we have a big round of virtual applause for Ms. Nupur Ghosh? Welcome, ma'am.
Now, we have amongst us Mr. Jimmy Tangri. It is an absolute pleasure, sir, introducing you. He completed his education from St. Xavier's, and his love for music led him into DJing and the radio. He began his DJing career in 1983 and later joined Taj Bengal in the year 1993. He conducted several opening acts for Tata Young, Bryan Adams, and Paul Oakenfold, and shows in Calcutta, Delhi, Mumbai, Goa, and several workshops on radio in several renowned institutions across the country. Currently, Mr. Tangri heads the 91.9 Friends FM since April 2014 and controls the entire operations, business, and programming of the station. We welcome you, sir.
Once again, welcome to Humorous. This morning, we have a very special lineup of some of the most talented and hilarious comedians from the school circuit. I want to reiterate the rules once again for the audience. Time allotted for each participant is 5 minutes. No jokes can be cracked, hurting any religious, political, or social sentiment. No offensive language can be used.
This is to remind you all that the entire presentation should be primarily in English. However, occasional vernacular phrases or sentences may be used. Penalization of marks is likely to take place if the participant reads out from a script or there seems to be any teleprompter or anything similar. Participants will be judged on content, presentation, language, of course, the LOL moments, and the X factor. Over to our first contestant from Modern High School, Ms. Jia Kormukar.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you tell me when to start?
And I'm okay as long as this coach is absolutely fine. I think.
I'm totally prepared. I'm totally prepared.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Please
I'll
go
be
ahead.
starting.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you. So, hello, everybody. How's it going? Now, one thing you must know about me is that I love reading books. My favorite book is The Hunger Games, but my least favorite book is my maths textbook because the plot is just way too complicated. But I absolutely love reading dystopian novels specifically because of how much I relate to them. I mean, they are quite difficult to find in the library, but it was partly my fault for only looking in the current affairs section. Anyway, dystopian novels, they have a different feel to them. It's like you can imagine them taking place at night time while reading. Like I've never envisioned a dystopian novel set during the day. Why though? The sun doesn't discriminate. Does wickedness suddenly mean no sunlight? I mean, have you ever envisioned a dystopian novel involving sunlight other than your bio textbook? Now, the main crux behind a dystopian novel is that there is a higher power who suppress the lower power, and they manipulate you and trick you into doing things you don't wish to do. And because you make bad decisions and because it's nighttime, you fall under that trap and get deceived. These dystopian novels were definitely inspired by Naptol's marketing strategy. Speaking of marketing strategy, anyone notice how from the years 2012 to 2016, teen dystopia was the rage? Hunger Games, Divergent, Maze Runner. Then the genre just disappeared because directors, producers, writers, they realized that the public had lost interest and decided to discontinue that entire genre of teen dystopia itself. Mostly because teens were making their own dystopia on Wattpad by accurately narrating every single family function fail crammed into one disastrous event where someone told you your face looked like a Momo if Momos were ugly, or some kid threw up and the dessert section ran out of vanilla ice cream. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is that everyone asks you how school's going. To that, you can just respond with no. Either that or they say, when are exams starting? Like, I'm here to enjoy myself. Why would you ask me that? You know, the best way to respond to that can be, yeah, they started yesterday. I decided not to give. But hey, there's always a happy ending because at least it ends, right? It may be 3 days after the original event, but it still ends. Unlike the commentary on every single Naptol product, like we get it. Carragain's waterproof shampoo is a lifesaver because it comes in regular microwavable sizes for eating and drinking purposes also. Battery is not included, shampoo sold separately. But seriously, don't you think the usefulness of products are slightly exaggerated? Like, how much can revolving ice cream cone really help you? Firstly, I don't buy cornetto that often. Unpopular opinion, I know. But secondly, why do other benefits include jawline exercise and face relaxation tool? It's like saying SpongeBob episodes help add profits for Scotch Brite. Like, yes, they are very indirectly connected, but you don't add the fact that you can make a clover with your tongue on your college resume, do you? I specifically wrote this joke because I can make a clover with my tongue. It's a very useful talent, I know, but not many people acknowledge it, and I need validation because I'm not very good at anything else. So that's why I wrote this joke. And because I wrote this joke, like I mentioned before, everything really must come to an end, even if it's extended a little bit, because I think I may have gone over time a little. Now, whether you're happy this has ended or not is up to you. I'm just here to have fun. But other benefits do include missing math class right now, because the textbook plot just gets so more complicated as we move on with the story. I barely understood the contents page. Thank you.
Time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was interesting, Jia. And now, and we did have fun. Next contestant is Sania Singh from DPS Ruby Park. Over to you, Sania.
Yes. Good morning, teachers. And so my name is Nervous and I'm very Sanya. Oh, sorry. My name is Sanya and I'm very nervous today. So my love for my school is like a metro construction. It's never ending. And so I'm from a middle class family, and my mother is very superstitious. So one day I told her to pass the scissors, and she told me, I'll give it to you, but I'll put it on the floor, and then you have to pick it up. I'm like, I snatched it from her hand. I told that I don't believe in this, and फिर हमारा झगड़ा हो गया. So, uh, like in middle class family, they don't believe that you are studying in their absence. I told that I was studying maths, but they didn't believe me. So she came and told me, you are not studying, no? I'm like, yeah, but how do you know? A video game abhi bhi garam hai. I'm like, damn, thermodynamics. And and the next day, I put the video game in the fridge. And she came and told me that you are not studying, no? I'm like, but how do you know this time? She's like, TV abhi bhi garam hai. And then I turned on the AC. Then I put the video game in the fridge. And then again, she came and told me, you're not studying. I'm like, how? She tells me the pen's refill was unused. Then now I scribbled it on the paper and put the video game in the fridge and turn on the AC. Now everything set. Now see who's the mommy. And she came and told me that you are not studying again. I'm like, okay, fine, I was not studying. But how do you know this time? She's like, it was a bluff. Now you're caught. And my friend recently saw this movie called Fault in Our Stars, and she told the movie was very good. But which song was she listening to all the time? And I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? It was Breathless by Shankar Mahadevan. Uh, so when I have a lot of time at my house, I just roam around. I open the fridge, I take out Eno and start drinking it. Have you seen the Eno ad? It says "Asar kare sirf 6 seconds mein," and it took me 20 seconds to open the wrapper. Uh, life is like a box of chocolates. It doesn't last long if you're fat. And my mother, there's a lot of diversity in my house. So my mother speaks Gujarati, my brother speaks Hindi, my father speaks English, and I speak bullshit. Well, see, so there's a few jokes, one-liner jokes. So two fishes were in a tank, and one says, "How to drive this thing?" Um, and see, Donald Trump was nothing like Hitler because no way he could write a book, obviously. And yeah, so yeah, that's my thing.
That's it. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Eno does have its effect on within 3 seconds, but let me tell you, you did have an effect from the word go. Our next participant is Arush Mukherjee from South Point. Ayush, are you there? Are you good to go?
Yes, sir.
All right.
So, hi. And unlike Gia, I don't really like reading books anymore. I like going to places in the city like the National Museum before COVID happened. So, when you actually enter the National Museum, you can get a form where they actually ask you to fill out what language you like, which language you prefer, your email ID, your phone number, your name, your address, and everything. So, like when you go to the languages section, there is actually tick boxes. So, you can even tick on Old English. Now, what I want to know is who came up with Old English in the National Museum. Like, we don't even use that, right? And who is gonna speak in Old English? Like, if you get into the museum and you go through the displays, there is nothing written in Old English. Like, they're just gonna send you, I don't know what, Old English books or Old English articles. Like, what is happening in this city? And if you like go to Howrah station, there are multiple billboards outside, from Prega News to Bisleri to Coca-Cola. Like Bisleri and Coca-Cola even make sense. And what about Prega News? Who is going to take a pregnancy test in a train station? And these companies also come up with brilliant taglines. Like for Bisleri, it's pure Bisleri. Obviously, I'm going to drink Bisleri and I'm not going to pay 20 rupees for the bottle to just wash my hands. For Thumbs Up, it's Taste the Thunder. And you can't even understand that they're comparing thunder with Thumbs Up unless you watch the full ad in the TV. If you go into any of the markets, Garyahat, Esplanade, anywhere, there isn't any billboards, even though there are thousands of shops. And these shops, the main way of advertising for these shops are shouting. They're gonna shout in your ears, and they don't even use taglines. They're just gonna say, "Come have Bisleri," straight English. "Come have Bisleri." They don't use taglines. They don't use billboards, and they have more sales than any shop in the station ever had. These are just some of the instances that you can find in a city which are very funny. If you go into any of the schools and the school is gonna first ask you to pay for an admission fee, right? Even though you don't have a kid, you just want to enroll yourself into the school, they're gonna ask for an admission fee first without even showing you the school. These are just some of the instances that I found in my city that are really funny. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arush. And the last contestant for this event is Krish J. Kalwani from the host school, Birla High School, performing in Humorous, sponsored by Bingo. Over to you, Krish. Are you good to go?
Yeah. So I just got a text like, where are you? I was actually looking for my jokes and whoa, okay. Yeah. So I've got some jokes. So let's start. So hi everyone. My name is Krish. Yes, Krish. पर अफसोस मेरा बाप राकेश रोशन नहीं है. What to do? And I honestly don't know why my parents decided to name me Krish because I make Hrithik Roshan look like Jadoo. Dude. But Jadoo se yaad aaya, let's talk about Donald Trump. I really like him as a person. And so on his birthday, I tweeted him. I don't know why, but for some reason, I got yelled at by Kangana Ranaut. I think she mistook me for someone else. But speaking of the other pandemic, the corona one, what an insane year it has been, right? Like I've been hearing people say that it was a bummer, it affected their mental health or something. Like what's mental health if you're living in India, dude? Grow up. But let's be honest, this lockdown was a year-long summer vacation for all of us. क्योंकि लॉकडाउन शुरू मजबूरी में हुआ था, लेकिन अब मजा आ रहा है. I finally had a legitimate reason to stay at home all day, doing absolutely nothing, just chilling on my bed. I mean, that's inner peace, right? But the only barrier which I faced was this one lady that stays at my house. And what's the term? Yeah, my mom. And I don't know if you noticed this, but Indian moms always compare you to that one Sharma ji ka beta. In my case, it was our neighbor's son. And if I had to describe him, his name was Rahul, but he looked like a Chatur Ramalingam. But today, in all honesty, I don't want to crack jokes on my parents because, you know, they love us, they care for us. And I also need a house to stay in. So, yeah. But coming back to social media, or as we know it, the modern day rehab center, I recently read a very good article on one of the most trusted, most reliable news sources, the one which all elders, including my parents, believe to be absolutely true. WhatsApp, or as I like to call it, UNESCO ki paidaish. According to the article, the Statue of Unity in Gujarat is actually a military masterstroke. Like it has cameras within its eyes and it's pointed towards Pakistan. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like केवड़िया में बैठ के कराची में क्या हो रहा है सब दिखेगा. Now the thing is, I'm very free. I have a lot of time in my hands, a bit too much, and so I fact check this. And apparently, the statue is pointing towards Kanpur. The only thing we can probably see is the city going Zuba Kesari, while half-naked people relax on the railway tracks with lotas in their hands early in the morning, building pressure while making eye contact with you. But enough of these controversial jokes. Let's get back to jokes on myself, because apparently self-deprecation is considered funny. I'm actually an introvert, and introverts hate social interaction, like they hate it. So for us, online shopping is like a gift from God, like it's a miracle. But sometimes our orders can get really messed up. Like this one time I had ordered Pepsi from Zomato because why not? I'm rich. Anyways, the delivery wasn't coming for a long time. So I decided to call him. Hello. Hello. Is this Ramesh? हाँ तो रमेश को फोन करेंगे तो रमेश ही बोलेंगे ना. Okay. I still haven't got my Pepsi. Oh, Pepsi. हाँ वो तो डिलीवर नहीं हो पाएगा. Why? What happened? अरे खत्म हो गया ना Pepsi. खत्म? Like I just ordered, dude. I've even paid for the Pepsi. Where is it? अरे प्यास लगी थी, Pepsi भी थी, पी ली. और सुनो, अगली बार से ना डाइट पेप्सी मंगवाना तुम, मॉडर्न नहीं होगा. What? Why? इडियट, हम डायबिटिक है, फिर कल को अगर हमारा शुगर बढ़ गया तो पैसा कौन देगा, तुम्हारा बाप. This really cheesed me off. I was angry. I wanted to shout at him. So I started mustering up some courage. I was like, come on, Krish, cut to it. I picked up the phone and I was like, तमीज से, तू जानता है मेरा बाप कौन है? कौन है? Rakesh Roshan. Phone drop. Oh, yeah, shouldn't have done that. So thank you, and that's my set. Have been a
Thank
lovely
you
audience.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Krish. We are also standing here making eye contact with our technical team under a lot of pressure, but though not building pressure. And it's a pretty tough competition, I think. And we did have a rib-tickling session. I would now like to invite Mrs. Nupur Ghosh to please say a few words. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. I thought Mr. Tengri would go first, and then, and then after that, I would say, could we reverse the order? Otherwise,
But there's always a saying in Bengal, wherever you go, it's ladies first.
oh, come on. I guess we've left those days behind. Isn't that so?
It's not like old English, but I promise you.
All right. So that's good. We're having a little bit of stand-up comedy over here, although I'm not good at it at all.
But I'm also not good at it.
All right. Great. But it's great. Giving it a full-throated effort, let's say. Okay. All right. So since it's a question of ladies first, all right. And here I go. I think Rohan at the beginning had said that laughter is the best medicine. Yesterday I came across a quote which says that laughter is like a windshield wiper. It doesn't stop the rain, but allows us to keep going. Right. And I thought that was excellent because, especially the times that we are going through, the pandemic and the lockdown, I guess laughter is a great stress buster. And I was looking forward to today morning, and I think I absolutely enjoyed myself. So I think the first contestant was Jia, right? And Jia, I loved it, the way you started off with math books, dystopian novels, and of course, you brought in SpongeBob, I think jawline exercises, and then finally you got back to math textbooks, right? I do hope your math teacher, does he or she know that you're appearing for the stand-up comedy, or have you sent her the link? If you haven't, I think this session is being recorded, and perhaps you can share this with her. Perhaps she'll have a different take where you're concerned, and maybe you'll end up loving the subject. You never know, right? So all the best.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, I'm pretty sure she's quite happy I'm not in her class currently, but yes. Thank you.
Oh. All right. Now let's come to Sania. Sania from DPS Ruby Park. Sania, I love the way you started off with superstition, video game, thermodynamics, and of course, you got a little philosophical also. Life being a box of chocolates and the diversity in your family. But I wish you the very best next time. And I do hope that mummy is not going to catch you not studying. So all the very best to you. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Arush, I think I made friends with Arush because right at the beginning, I was there because, I get very jittery whenever it comes to these online platforms. And I thought, oh my God, in case I get, I can't connect and things like that because I am tech challenged. So I was there right at the beginning. And then after that, Arush was there. And then I kind of, started chatting with Arush. And Arush reminded me of that was lovely. The National Museum before COVID. And yes, Old English. And I loved it when you spoke about the taglines in various ads and versus the langpa of the Garyahat hawkers, right? So that was excellent, right? Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
And then after that, of course, we have the whole school, Birla High, right? Krish, and then Jadoo, and then after that, goodness, I think you did expose a few home truths, my dear son, by saying lockdown was a year-long summer vacation. But Rohan and Sanjukta, was it a summer vacation for you? I'm sure no. And it wasn't a summer vacation for me either. So I cannot, say yes to that. All right. And then, of course, the lady staying at home, your mother, and always comparing you to Sharmaji's son. I thought that was absolutely excellent. And I love the way you kind of brought it back to Krish and Rakesh Roshan. So kudos to you. I enjoyed myself. And of course, how I think there was a rule that said that we cannot use vernacular. I think that was stated, right? So I guess it's great. It's great to connect. But I think if we could respect the rules, then it really helps, because there are some schools who are absolute sticklers and they'll go by the rules, and there's some schools don't. So I guess if all of us speak the same language, it makes judging easier. Right. And yesterday what I was doing is that I was going through a series of stand-up comedies, because I was getting very stressed that, oh my goodness, what's going to happen? I think I'm going to make a fool of myself. I don't know what I'm going to say. So therefore I watched a few stand-up comedies, and then after that I was also going through a few quotations where comedy was concerned. And there I have my daughter is a young adult, and she said that, Ma, you're not going to read out the quotes. You're going to make a fool of yourself. But well, I started with a quote, and she's standing right here, and she's kind of glaring at me saying that, don't you dare read the quote. But I think I'm going to, because, I particularly like this quote, which says that, if you stop laughing, you kind of become old, right? And I think I am not old, and I don't want to become old. So I will continue laughing. And thank you so much for all the laughs today morning. And thank you, Birla High. Thank you to the management of Birla High. Thank you, Miss Nain. Thank you, Mrs. Saigal. Thank you, Colonel Chaturvedi, for inviting me. It's like homecoming to me. And thank you so much. And I must say that yesterday, I was in the midst of the meeting when this lovely hamper came, and I couldn't even say hello to the boys because I was in a meeting with my principal. I couldn't, switch off the video, and I couldn't go and, just take the hamper from them and say thank you. So I called up Mrs. Saigal immediately, and I said that, I'm having a beautiful tea party with the savories that have been sent to me. So thank you once again, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself. Thank you, and namaskar.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Nupur ma'am. But I would just like to remind one thing to the judges, that the entire presentation should have been primarily in English. However, occasional vernacular phrases or sentences may be used. This is just a humble reminder to the judges while marking the participants.
Okay.
So, ma'am, after that, I would like to have the pleasure of inviting Mr. Tangri to please share his views.
It's been a fantastic, I think, about 25 to 30 minutes. And I must tell Ms. Coach, when I joined in, trust me, I thought you were one of the participants, so you are young and you are go-getting, irrespective of what people say or what you think, or as you said, you were going through a lot yesterday, but trust me, the way you came across today, it was absolutely that you were into stand-up comedy and you understood it thoroughly well. So I'm sure the little bit you went through yesterday, I'm sure you can get onto stage and maybe, do a 5-minute act yourself if required.
Thank you, Mr. Tangri. That's a great compliment coming from you. I'll cherish it. And it's really made my day. Thank you.
Seriously, I honestly thought you were one of the participants. Anyhow, but, to cut it short, I think it's been a beautiful 25 minutes. In the last 1.5 years, from the 23rd of March, we haven't stopped working. As a radio station, we were live. We were going to work. For us, it was not a lockdown or staying at home. So at the end of the day, I'd like to also, before I go on to the participants, I'd like to also thank everybody who has made this 1.5 years a little bit different, a little bit more understanding, and especially to the teachers and the people in education, who took the initiative, going tech, understanding tech, and a lot of people I know there found it difficult initially. There was no high tech stuff, the internet lines were very bad, people used to teach with phones. But trust me, I think it's evolved so well. So, big thank you to the institutions, to the teachers, to the educational institutions who have made it possible to engage, on a platform which the students love. Trust me, before it went online, they used to love chatting on WhatsApp. They used to love online exchanges of stuff. And then suddenly education became a reality where everything was online. So, first of all, to all of your four participants, I think you all have been really sweet, really amazing. You all have actually come out well. But remember, one thing about stand up comedy is, and when you actually get across being humorous is being fast, being hard hitting, and being energetic. Some of you were, some of you need to brush up the points on energy levels. I know for many of you all, maybe it was the first or second time, but it needs a lot of high speed. You don't stop, you carry on one into the other. That's what's very important. By the time I react to one line, you're already on the other line. You don't give me enough time to kind of go through, and I'm continuously in the happy mood. But trust me, across all four of you all did keep us happy, you did keep us smiling, and you did keep us go getting. It was wonderful. And what I really appreciate was short and tight. It was not, 1.5 hours or 2 hours of 15, 20 participants. And a big kudos to all of you because it's tough being at home, sitting on a chair, and being a stand up comedy act. It's not easy, It actually turns up a little better when you're on stage front of an audience because you'll have the response points. So kudos to all of you all. I'm not going to get into details, but I think each one of you all were good in your own way. Keep at it, keep going, because now is the time you rediscover yourselves, you reinvent yourselves, you re-innovate yourselves, you build up your talent areas. It's not just about studies. It's about knowing yourself better. And there's a lot of time. As you move forward, you'll be actually discovering yourselves in a better way. And a big thank you to Middle High School. And thank you for that lovely hamper. I do agree. It was just fantabulous, and it was a surprise. But a big thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I'm not much of a stand-up comedian myself, but yes, I do get across a little bit with language. So I think it was a fantabulous 35 minutes, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It was an absolute pleasure hearing from you. Thank you, dear judges and participants, for being a part of this wonderful event sponsored by Bingo.
My dear audience, stay tuned for Double Cross, the turncoat debate starting shortly. Thank you, everyone. My dear audience, stay tuned.